Whereas I would have to look at more from a bit of larger canvas and more of a demand side perspective, looking at the resilient tourism and specifically the domestic tourism imperative, given that pandemic that is around. I'm sure you all would know about how do you understand resilient tourism means. It's all about ability of the destination to withstand the adversity and bounce back from the difficult time, and events are effective to adapt and overcome the difficult conditions. And we know that we are talking about resilience. It is multidimensional, having the social community, the local community, organizational, developmental, and disaster resistance perspectives. And what I try to highlight, especially during the new millennium, that is from 2000 to 2021, if you look at globally, we have been having some of the very devastating events, say the Asian economic crisis, 2002-3, and then we have the global economic recession, 8-9, and we had the SARS, we have the Ebola, and of course, in 2020, that we have the onset of COVID-19 pandemic. Why I highlight this? Because the subsequent point I'm going to raise is how resilient has been tourism industry that we have been talking about, because tourism industry, as you will see, if the numbers are to believe, recoils much faster, which perhaps would happen only this time around during the pandemic 19 COVID. This is what a picture that I would like to share with you. If you look at globally, during 2000 to 2010, the international arrivals have increased by 41% and the earnings by 51.5%, which means almost half the increase have been seen in a decade period. Look at the crisis, look at the period during 2019, 10-19. There's a bit of mistake, it's not a crisis today. That is a robust year when it comes to tourism industry globally and India too. We'll see that the international arrivals have increased more than half during 9 years period and the earnings by almost doubling. Come back to India. We heard the numbers, but again, I'm highlighting it. These figures again, just to ascertain the fact, to reiterate the fact that tourism on a longer horizon or a medium to long-term horizon is resilient to adverse, even global events. If you look at the 2001-10 period, we know that that is a period when we had so many catastrophic events happened around the world, but still, tourism industry in India, foreign tourist arrivals grew by 89%, that is much faster than that of the global average, and domestic tourism. That's what the highlight the point. You heard three speakers. You see that the 9-year period from 2010 to 19, it has been increased by 210%, which means that if you take a larger horizon and look at the tourism, that prism, we'll see that tourism really bounced back and move northward. This is what we have can see specifically in 2020 as a result of COVID-19 shocks. We expected that this is the kind of mechanism undertaken by the World Tourism Organization. It was expected that the recovery would happen much faster, but which did not happen. And we see that globally there was a decline of 74% of the arrivals, and the revenue loss was to the tune of around 1 billion USD. So it's a huge loss, both in terms of the revenue that the tourism has been contributing to the world, because there is a huge decline in terms of the arrival numbers. And which region suffered the most? If you look at it, it is Asia Pacific that suffered the most by losing out 84% of the visitor arrivals compared to 2019 level. And this is a bit of a possible scenario globally that has been projected. If you look at it with the actual numbers, we would see that the crisis scenarios are really not taking us much forward, as has been assessed and projected on a short-term horizon of WTO in 2020 has been materialized. And you can see the impact of that in the projection 2021, at least up to the first quarter 2. And what is the expectation? The expectation is that the tourism industry would reach the pre-pandemic level, that is by 2019 level, maybe either by 2023 or perhaps by 2024, which largely goes in line with the NCA projection that Dr. Poonam Munjal has shared with us. So what are the emerging trends in tourism? Again, this goes very closely with what has been presented already. People prefer closer their destinations, and we see that the domestic tourism is picking up faster. And we have heard Mr. Guru Prasad talking about the staycations. And Goa is one of the destinations which was pretty known for staycations. I know many friends of mine who have come from Mumbai, Delhi, etc., and they lived here and worked from here for months together. So that is a reality, not only in India, that's a reality that we have seen and reported globally. There's a growing consumer concern about the health and safety measures. Again, all the presenters before me have really highlighted on that, and that has been a global trend, global concern. And as a result, the cancellations have been very stringent. People lost out. Mr. Hira was talking about huge amount of money because the airlines and hotels were not ready to return the money, though it took time, but that is another huge concern that people have it. What if I book a ticket? That was a concern. Or if I book a hotel. The travel preferences, again, this have been already profiled, more and more inclination towards nature travel, rural tourism, road trips. That is something really very prominently highlighted by all my previous speakers. And we also are now talking about the wellness tourism and the medical tourism, which anyway has to happen. It is less vulnerable to the adverse event because medical tourism is a more of a requirement and need. Then another aspect, the planned versus last minute travel. So we are seeing now more and more last minute travels now because you wouldn't know whether if you book a ticket, you are able to travel. So people begin to look for the last minute booking. And though they lost out on that in remedy terms, but they still prefer that mode to avoid what we are seeing, the concerns led to cancellation, etc. The change in demographics. Again, we have heard from previous speakers that the demographics is changed during the lockdown period. If you look at on a pan-India level or on a global level, we would see that now the youths are reportedly more and more resilient to what we see around and the pandemic. And there is a growing sense of responsible travel because we have seen in the pandemic period how clean the air that we have breathing. We have seen the chirping of birds all around. We have seen the green trees. We have seen a lot of life around. And that gives a lot of sense to people. Yes, we have to begin to travel responsibly. And what factors really determine a recovery? Some of these facts have already been highlighted. So travel restrictions. You know that even now, international tourists are not given visas to come to India, excepting some of those emergency travel as has been approved by DGC. So as and when it gradually relaxes, we expect the traffic to pick up Then slow virus containment. We know that the vaccine targets are still not being clear to any of us, as when it is either in India or in the world, when we would be able to reasonably complete the vaccination of people so that the people feel more safe to travel around. That the lack of coordinated response among the countries, that we have heard about it, we read about it, I don't want to speak more on that, but these all have a direct bearing on the recovery process that we are all very eagerly waiting for. And as a result, we have very low consumer confidence, right? And very slow flight resumption that we have seen it, what happens. And as a result, the economic environment has been pretty depressed in 2020, but began to pick up, and therefore, a faster recovery is expected in the economic environment. And as a result, the recovery is expected to be faster. These are different scenarios being developed by World Tourism Organization, and I think by and large, the scenarios that we are seeing is by and large is in line with what we are seeing today. Then I come to domestic tourism in India. Again, we have heard from Dr. Munjal. See the volume, you can see that 2,322 million people. That is the volume of domestic tourism in the country. It's too huge. Let us not get too much into how much per head tourist expenditure of, say, international travel or inbound tourists vis-a-vis domestic tourists. I'll highlight why I emphasize on this point. Because the domestic tourism accounts for 3/4 of India's tourism economy. Again, the numbers have been very well brought forward by Dr. Punjal's presentation. And therefore, we have to look at and plan for tourism as a domestic tourism as a backbone and the support, source of support to the economy, because tourist sector also is dominated by a very vibrant, massive tourism informal sector. And you know, the tourism economy job itself is something around 10% of India's total jobs. And of this 10% total jobs, almost 85 to 90% are the semi-skilled, unskilled, or the women. Therefore, there is a great need, there is an imperative to push for the cause of tourism, domestic tourism in the country, because it contributes to the inclusive growth. Because as we have seen, this micro, small, and medium enterprise dominate sector, proportionately higher female workforce and participation, employing millions of socio-economically poor people, and support base for tourism sector during the bad times. We have seen during 2008-9, if you look at the numbers, when the whole world went into depression, and the world tourism also recorded a negative growth around, I think 2.4% negative growth. Still, tourism in India grew at around 7 to 8%, which means during the bad times, domestic tourism pitched into secure tourism industry, and that is what we are seeing during the pandemic time as well. What strategy we are looking at it? We have heard that many suggestions from some of the panels. And what is important is that industry is now acknowledging that domestic tourism is a tool for them to drive towards recovery, and it also eventually leads to recovery of the economy. But we have seen that vaccination is a challenge, and how soon we will be able to do it is something that will determine the revival of domestic tourism. And Mr. Hira talked about Dekho Apna Desh. This is an initiative by the Ministry of Tourism, which was started during the time of pandemic. The idea was to expose as many destinations in India as possible, cutting across the country, like in Northeast to Kashmir, to Gujarat, to Andaman, and up to Kerala and Lakshadweep. So there's a huge amount of awareness creation that happened as part of the Dekho Apna Desh initiative. Then now we have to enhance the tourist confidence. That is where, as some of all my previous speakers said, what is important is that how we are able to ensure that the safety and health of the people, and how we can instill the confidence on the visitors on these two main camps. And attractive pricing and packages, that is another aspect we have to look at it, because now people are economically really in a bad shape, and it is the attractive packages and the affordable pricing that would really take the revival process to get moving. And we see that less crowded tourist sites are being preferred largely now. So we have to look at promoting less tourism, less crowded destinations. Mr. Guru has cited many of those examples, either in the hills or in Kerala or in Goa, etc., etc. Right? Then I certainly push for now focusing on the youth travel, adventure travel, and rural tourism, because in a situation like pandemic, where crowded places are something that needs to be avoided, I think looking at adventure or rural destinations would be something that a large number of tourists can be attracted to. Then another dimension that has come up already for the discussion, like, so if you look at India's outbound travel, the numbers are much higher than that of India's inbound travel, which means that if we are able to attract and motivate, attract these potential outbound travelers to visit various places in India, that will be another important impetus for the domestic industry to pick up. Then personalized hospitality offerings and targeted the luxury market. Maybe something like, say, heli-tourism. Because now everybody is scared of even taking a scheduled flight. Why not look at helicopter tourism? Some states are doing it, but this can also be expanded to a larger level. Then another aspect we need to look at it, offering LTCs, leave travel concessions. In fact, the private sector did not have the scheme, but if they do it, it has two incentives. One is that the employees will get really a boost. They can get out of the places. They can, but whatever that a travel can achieve to. And these guys will come back with much more energy, vibrancy, and that will be much more significant in terms of the value addition to the companies. And the government also must now push the provision of LTC and really motivate people to travel, so that there is another big chunk of clientele that could be pushed into the travel sector. And the other important thing, I thought that why not to consider 2-year tax holidays, mainly for the micro, small, and medium enterprises. Because this is something that we have not been talking about in these days. Even the budget recommendation also doesn't speak about it. I think this is something that we need to look at and to push for granting tax holidays, at least for 2 years. Because if you look at the recovery chart that has been given, recovery path that has been projected, either at the national level or the international level, before 2023, the pre-COVID-19 stage is not going to be reaching. This would be another big help that the industry can be given to. Then a ease of interstate travel restriction that is still there in many states. That is something that we can look at it. And for health and sanitary protocols, we have this year we have more of a very what you call say unattended area, because we as Indians, I'm saying that because we run a campaign called Social Action Plan around the country, and we are saying that how we really dirty the destinations, dirty the places where you live, dirty the places where we stay, the transport modes. I think something that we need to do is to enforce it, so that at least the sense of hygiene, sense of cleanliness can be further taken forward. And you all must be aware about that in July 2021, the government has announced a package for travel and tourism sector, covering something around 10,700 crores, right? That will cover the regional tour guides and the travel and tourism stakeholders, that will be those who are running very small scale operations, etc. 10 lakh rupees as a loan or a working capital for the regional level tour guides, and others about 1 lakh rupees is what has been committed by the government. Here, what I would like to bring here, a point of reference that has been made by Mr. Hira, that we have to look at restarting it. Maybe these companies, travel operators, smaller hotels, homestays, they must have been lying locked, and they are lying locked for more than a year now. Now, almost everything that they had, it all must have been dried out. So they would be as good as a new startup. That is where the government handholding is required. So these are some of the aspects I thought that I must make as part of my presentation. So thank you, and over to you.